Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the S tier champions for every single role for patch 9.20. So to start things off here in the top lane, bit of a shakeup for this patch. We got Garen and Heimerdinger both moving up into S tier. Pantheon, with the nerfs he received in this patch, is going to be dropping out of S tier. So for Garen and Heimerdinger there, Garen did receive his rework in this patch. Turns out so far he's performing super well in solo queue. He's got a very high play rate, very high win rate so far. I would not be surprised if he did end up getting a hotfix nerf in the coming day or so. So just watch out for that, but I would definitely recommend picking him up here in 9.20. So two different builds going around with Garen right now. He does obviously benefit more from attack speed now. His Q and his E both do benefit from attack speed, so going for a build of Trinity Force into like Phantom Dancer is something that's performing pretty well on him so far in this patch. But as Garen, going for that build and being very squishy, it's not always going to be the best option. Going for the Triforce, Sterix, and Deadmans is still going to be a pretty consistent build on him for this patch. I would say it kind of depends on the game, depends on how it's going. If you need a tank, if you need to be tankier, if you need to be team fighting, then I would still go for Sterix and go for Deadmans. But if you are ahead, if you're looking to snowball, if you just want to split push, then going for PD and going for Infinity Edge, just going for a super full damage build, is still a viable option for 9.20. And then for rune choice on the new Garen, it's going to be Conquer every single game. I don't see there being a better option now. I know some Garen players like Wrist, he likes to run different rune setups depending on the game, depending on the matchup, but I just think Conquer, the fact that it now procs off every spin, you get one stack of Conquer for each proc your spin, you just stack that up so quickly. And I just feel like because Conquer is a very strong rune and because now Garen can actually use it very well, I just don't see there being a better option in most situations. And then for the Heimer pick, probably one of the best blind picks you can play for solo queue in the top lane. Very safe laning phase. You're not really going to lose lane on the champion. You're going to pressure, or you're going to have a lot of pressure in the laning phase. You're going to be able to roam first, help your jungler with whatever he needs. So he's just a very safe pick in the top lane right now. Very difficult to gank as well. You got your turrets down, so you can turn 1v2 scenarios, especially if you're level 6 with Heimerdinger. So it just allows you to pressure really well in lane. He got the buffs last patch. I don't think he really even needed those buffs. He got like 3 different buffs last patch, so those really helped him out. He's a great pick right now in both the top lane, the mid lane, and even down in the bot lane. And then for the rest of the S tier in the top lane, Kled and Mordekaiser have been great picks for multiple patches in a row now, so nothing has really changed for them in 9.20. Kale's been a great pick ever since your mini rework, so if you want to play another good range top lane pick, then Kale's a great option for this patch. And the Alawi pick, kind of similar to the Heimerdinger, if you can get ahead on this pick, you just draw so much pressure in the side lane. You're going to be able to 1v2 with Alawi. The enemy team is going to have to send at least 2 or 3 members to the side lane to try to stop you, and it just allows for your team to have the outnumbered fights pretty much every single time. You're going to allow them to 4v3. If you're winning that 1v2 in the side lane, you're getting a double kill, then chances of you winning are going to be super high. So if you can play a good Alawi right now, if you can get ahead in the early game, then you can carry super well on this champion. And then moving into the jungle now, Shaco did get his rework in this patch, and similar to Garen, he is performing extremely well at the start of 9.20. Like Garen, I would not be surprised if Shaco did receive some sort of small hotfix nerf or something in the coming day or so, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't as well. We'll have to wait and see how he does end up panning out as the patch does progress, but at the start of the patch here, he is performing extremely well. Definitely a jungler I would be looking to pick up. There's just a ton of great changes in this rework. I think one of the best ones is the fact his W is now AoE. It actually allows this champion to clear out raptors and clear out Krugs without having to sit there and auto attack every single raptor or every single Krug. It just took him so long to clear out those camps in previous patches, so that's a great change for Shaco. Another one, his ultimate, the boxes are now going to trigger immediately after his ultimate dies, so that's just going to allow him to win a lot more 1v1s. If you can play Shaco well and you can bait the enemy into attacking your clone first instead of you, and that can explode and just fear the enemy right away, it's just going to allow you to win so many more 1v1s now in 9.20. Now for build pass on Shaco, there's honestly a couple of different options. There's an AP option to where you go Runic Echoes into Gunblade and Lichbane, or you can go Runic Echoes into Protobelt and Lichbane. You can go for the old setup, it's still very good, of Duskblade, Trinity Force, and Youmuu's. I think that one's probably going to be the most consistent here in 9.20. And then there's also the crit option where you can go Duskblade into Static Shiv and then Infinity Edge. So there's 3 different options to try out in 9.20. I would say that I would probably just stick with the lethality build of the Dustblade and the Trinity Force and the Youmu's at the start of the patch here. I think that one is still going to remain the best, but there's definitely a couple options to try out in 9.20. And then for rune options on Shaco, there's honestly 3 options as well. You got the Electrocute, Dark Harvest, and Hail of Blades. I got Hail of Blades up on screen there because that is the one that most high elo Shaco players do prioritize right now, and it is the one that does have the best win percent at the start of the patch. So I would be leaning more towards the Hail of Blades, but if you do prefer the Electrocute or you do prefer the Dark Harvest, both are still great options. So it does kind of come down to personal preference, but I would definitely try out Hail of Blades if you have not already. And then other than Shaco bumping up into S tier and then Hecarim dropping down because Shaco is replacing him, really not any significant changes that would really change the S tier for 9.20. This was a pretty small patch overall, not really any huge changes other than the reworks in this patch, so expect the S tier and expect the strong champions in the jungle to stay pretty much as to where it was in last patch. So if you want to play a carry jungler right now, the Shaco, the Kha'Zix, the Echo, all super good picks. If you want to play more of a utility jungler, more of a tank jungler, you got your Mundo, your Nunu, and your Zac. I think Zac is super underrated. I'd say that Zac is borderline S tier right now. I definitely could move him up into S tier. I think he's extremely strong with the recent changes he got in previous patches and with other junglers getting nerfed. For the Mundo pick, really good into AP junglers. We're seeing more AP junglers right now being played, with the Echo seeing a rise, with Zac being played more, Elise. So if you can pick Mundo into a full AP composition and you can reach mid game, then you can just absolutely take over games with this champion. And then moving on to the mid lane now, the mid lane S tier has been relatively stale the past couple of patches now. It's looking the exact same as to where it was last patch, and I think it's been like this for at least the past 3 or 4 patches now. So you still have Malz and Ahri, very consistent mid lane champions. You can pick them in most scenarios. You're always going to be useful on the picks. You got Fizz. I think Fizz is the best assassin you can play right now in the mid lane. Very good pick, really good pick into a lot of mage champions that are seeing a rise right now. We saw TF get buffed in last patch. He's being played more. Orianna got buffed last patch, she's been playing more, and Fizz can do very well into those certain champions. For Talon and Zed, really good AD assassins. I would prioritize Talon a little bit more than Zed. You do have better roaming potential on Talon. Once you get to your T-map and your Moby boots on Talon, your ability to just perma-shove a wave and look to roam and just look to take over the game with your insane roaming ability is really good, and it just makes him a great solo queue champion. For the Kassadin pick there, really good into AP champions in the mid lane, melee AP champions like the Fizz, the Katarina, the Echo, he's great into. He's also really good into a lot of champions that have been buffed recently. A lot of AP champions in the mid lane have been buffed, like the Veigar, the Orianna, the TF, so it does favor Kassadin, and as long as you can get past the early game, reach your mid game spike, you're going to be super strong on Kassadin, and you're going to be able to carry very well for 9.20. So moving down to the bot lane now, first for AD carry, we did see Varus get a couple of different buffs in this patch to his base stats, but they're not enough to bump him up into S tier. I'd say Varus is a solid A tier pick now though in 9.20, so if you've played Varus in the past, if you're a good Varus player, he is worthwhile to pick up in 9.20. For the S tier champions there, exactly the same as to where it was in 9.19, so I would be prioritizing Ashe and Caitlyn a little bit more than the rest of the champions there. Ashe got some really good buffs in last patch, Caitlyn got buffed a couple of patches ago. Both are just very good early game AD carries, and both do synergize extremely well with the meta supports. Now for the honorable mentions, notice the Heimerdinger and the Veigar do have a spot for this patch. So the Heimerdinger pick got buffed last patch, the Veigar pick also got buffed last patch, and ever since those changes, a lot of pros, a lot of high elo players have been spamming them in solo queue. We've even seen the Heimerdinger pulled out at Worlds already down in the bot lane. I'm not too sure if we've seen the Veigar pulled out. I wasn't paying super close attention to the World's group stage so far, so I'm not sure if Veigar was played yet, but I know Reckless has been spamming him a ton in solo queue. A lot of high elo pro players have been playing him in solo queue as well, so I would definitely prioritize the Heimerdinger a little bit more than the Veigar for the majority of elos, just because he does have a stronger early game. He's a little bit more easier to execute, and you can pressure a lot more in the laning phase. With the Veigar pick, you do more so have to sit back a bit more in the laning phase. You don't have that ability to just straight up all in at level 2 or anything. You more so want to wait for your level 6 with Veigar. Once you hit the level 6, then you can look for an all-in. He's pretty nasty if you do pair him up with a Leona or a Nautilus. It's pretty much a guaranteed kill once you do hit level 6. And then lastly, to round it all out down in the support role, it's going to be looking exactly as to where it was in 9.20. So not a single honorable mention, not a single S tier champion is going to be swapping places or is going to be dropping down or moving up. Blitzcrank did get a nerf in this patch. Honestly, a pretty laughable nerf considering he's sitting at like a 54% win rate in solo queue and like a 13% pick rate right now. So he's performing extremely well. I definitely expected a little bit more of a nerf for this patch, but he definitely did not get that. So still be spamming Blitzcrank in solo queue. I would still say that he is the #1 support for 9.20. And then for the rest of the support picks, the Leona, the Pyke, the Zyra, the Nautilus, all very good aggro support picks, can completely take over the game if you know how to play these champions well. I think bot lane right now is just such a volatile role because with these aggro supports being played and also with these pretty good early game AD carries being played, if you get that one kill in the laning phase with a Leona or with a Blitzcrank, then you just have the ability to kill the enemy over and over again. They're really not even going to be able to lane because you can just zone them from CS. If they try to walk up for CS, you just engage on them, you burst them out right away. So bot lane right now, I'd say is the strongest role in the game. It's been like that for quite a while, but I think even more so in this patch, in the past couple of patches, with these really good aggro supports being played and these strong early game AD carries, it just makes the role that much more volatile. And then one pick to watch out for down in the support role for this patch would be the Shaco support pick. With the changes it did get in this patch, is definitely a lot more viable now. It's a pick that has been played in solo queue a little bit over the past couple of patches. I've seen it pop up here or there. It's generally not performed very well a lot of the time. Most of the times I've seen it, it's like pretty much inted every single game. So with the changes it got in this patch, it's definitely a little bit stronger now. Box is dealing AoE damage, make it a lot better. His ultimate changes make it a lot better. So I do think it does have some more viability in this patch. So far it's performing pretty well in 9.20, but we'll have to wait and see as the patch does progress and in the next couple of patches here if it does catch on at all. So that is going to be it, guys. Hopefully you do have a pretty good idea of what you should be looking to prioritize now for 9.20. These are going to be the strongest champions for every single role for this patch. So if you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.